Tag, grüezi miteinander, hello. My name is Eve, and on my channel I talk about how to teach your children German when you are not a native German speaker. Today's topic is our experience with italki. So in order to book italki classes for my children, I had to make them their own separate accounts. I couldn't book their classes under my account. So once I did that, I set the settings to 4 kids and then native speaker. So the reason why I choose native speaker is because I want my children and I to learn perfect German, and I want to make sure that we are saying it like a German. And so I've taken a few classes from non-native German speakers, and there were times where I wasn't sure whether they knew how to correct me when I was speaking incorrectly. And I wasn't sure, well, how fluent are they? You know, I don't like questioning, does this person know enough German to correct me? I just like the fact that when I press native speaker, they're 100% native speaker. They know exactly how to speak German. It's a little harder with German classes. I find that I can book French and Spanish classes much easier than I can with German classes. But with German classes, they are a little more, well, a lot more expensive than French and Spanish classes. But the teachers that do teach kids, most of them are really good, high quality teachers. Something I should mention is that some teachers, sometimes they might try to waste time. And I get really annoyed by this. Just because my kids are kids doesn't mean that they should be wasting time in our lesson. Just like an adult, like I wouldn't expect the teachers to waste time if I'm paying someone to teach me a language. Some teachers waste a lot of time sending links after links after links, and the children then have to figure out how to screen share and press on the links, or I have to figure out how to screen share and all this, and it just wastes so much time. There's been times we wasted 10 minutes trying to click on the link and trying to screen share, and the teachers are talking us through this, and I just find it so agitating because I'm like, I don't need 1,000 links. I can play them YouTube videos or whatnot when I'm home. Like, I want them to teach them German. I'm asking them to teach them German, not playing a video that teaches my kid German. Like, it defeats the whole purpose if you're just playing video after video. So there was a time when I booked a French class, and the whole time she told me all the things she was going to teach my son. And I'm like, well, can you teach him? He's right here. And she's like, well, do you have any questions? I'm like, no. So we literally wasted a whole class of her telling me everything she was going to teach. And I need to join this membership. It's free. It's like a 30-day trial, or I need to do this, or I need to do that. And it's like, what a waste of time. I just threw out like $20 on this class of this lady just talking to me what she's going to do. And I don't find that acceptable at all. If I book a class and the teacher just wants to tell me everything they're going to teach me, it's like, no, teach me from the very beginning of class till the end of class. That's what I'm paying for. So I got really agitated because this kept happening. So I literally, every time I booked a teacher, I literally reached out to them on Contact Teacher and saying, do not send me 1,000 links during classes. Do not send me anything where I have to share a screen. Do not switch to English and speak to them in English the whole time. You know, I made sure to tell them my experience with teachers talking to me for most of the class, or me having to figure out how to work things on the computer. That's not teaching someone. So I made it very clear. And so now the teachers, they know my expectations the second they log on, and they start teaching my child German the second the call starts. You know, sometimes I feel like the kids should be given just as much respect on italki as the adults. I mean, at the end of the day, an adult is paying for their classes. So I put that boundary up, and all the teachers have respected that, and I do appreciate that. But don't be shy about speaking up for your child and their learning. It's their education at the end of the day, and you have to advocate for them. So now I'm going to talk to you about my experience with a reimbursement or a credit. So I had a class, well, my son had a class, and unfortunately our teacher's audio just did not work. We tried. We went on italki, we went on Skype. He was just trying to work his headset for 10 minutes, and then my son was getting really stressed out and agitated because he just wanted to talk or play. And, you ask any 6-year-old to sit around for 10 minutes not doing anything, they're gonna be a little agitated. I couldn't blame him. So after 10 minutes of him trying to figure out his headset, I just said, forget it, we're done. So I stopped the class and I asked for a reimbursement. He denied it. And so I had to go to italki customer service to explain the situation, like, hey, we were on time, we were on the platform we both agreed upon, and I even changed platforms because he was having technical issues, so we changed. And then italki's like, let me get in contact with him. And it was like back and forth. I had to send, a few things to them, and it's like back and forth. And they're like, oh, you can contact your teacher. I'm like, well, he denied my credit. So why would I contact the teacher? Like, if I contact the teacher, I'll just end up stressed out and probably have an argument with this guy. So what's the point of that? Like, I don't want to contact someone that's unreasonable. Any reasonable person, if you're having technical issues for 10 minutes, would just give the credit back to the student. But he was hanging on to his money. But they did the right thing and agreed. They sided with me, obviously, and gave me a credit. I did not give him a bad review, a public bad review. I just let it be. I just don't want to send negative energy into the world. I don't know what his situation is. I'm trying not to judge, but at the end of the day, I got my credit back and I booked it with somebody else. Now I'm going to talk about my experience with italki. Now, booking classes for me in German are not a big deal at all because there are way more teachers for adults than there are for children. And also because I am a stay-at-home mom, I can book classes really anytime until I pick up my children. With my boys, they have their school schedule and then their sports schedule and so on. So I have to be a little more flexible with the times with them. For me though, I can book it at any time until I pick my children up from school. So that isn't a problem at all. Finding teachers in my budget. Sometimes I've noticed that some teachers are, having a hard time with having a conversation. Like, you can tell they're reaching for something to talk about. I don't know, in America, we love our small talk, so I could just talk about anything. And sometimes, I notice my teachers are just like, oh, what should we talk about? And I'll be like, hey, let's talk about this, let's talk about that. Just a little funny. There are times when I reach out to the teacher and I say, I just want conversational German. I don't want to read in German. I'm fine with reading in German. I have no problem reading in German. But then they will still, put up an article and say, hey, let's read this article. And I'm like, okay, like that's literally what I asked not to do, but okay, I'll read this article. And then, I'll give them my opinion on the article. And I guess that's them figuring out what to talk about in German. I guess you can never have enough practice with reading, but that's okay. With Lingoda, it was so structured, and I'm kind of a structured person. I'm a routine person. So, Lingoda is so structured, and then you go to italki, it's like the Wild West. It's just like, you don't know what's going to happen in class. You don't know what you're going to talk about. So, there's times I just have to brace myself and be like, okay, what are we going to talk about? It could literally be anything. We could be doing activities that I was not expecting to do. I might go back to Lingoda because I sure love that structure. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'll find some amazing italki teachers that I'll be like, okay, I'm doing italki. But we'll see. I'll give it a few more months and then I'll make a decision. But, there are so many wonderful teachers on italki. And I haven't tried out the $60 classes because I'm not spending that much on italki. It's not happening. But the teachers that I have had, most of them are really good and very nice. And I really enjoy speaking to people. I don't care what age they are. I just love talking to people that are just, fun to talk to. So I would, if you want to teach your child German, or if you want to learn German yourself or any other languages, italki is a really fun platform, and I do love that you can set your budget so they can find you teachers that will work out for you. So anyway, hope you enjoyed my talk. Dankeschön. Tschüss.